We can't go outside, we've got to stay in. If together we fight, then this thing will win. So grab yourself a beer, and grab yourself some grub, and sit down with us at the virtual pub.
Buongiorno. How's everyone doing? It's Sunday night. Wow. We were supposed to have a bit of a show earlier on at 4, but sadly, our doctor friend couldn't quite make it. But we have a fully qualified GP in our midst, and he's going to come on and do a show for us soon. We hope to do it today, but sadly, it's not the case. We've got Luca. He'll be coming up in a minute. He's just cooking. He's just been sending me some photos of his tortellini he's been making. Looks fantastic, so it's a good reason to be a little bit behind. And tonight, we have a really fabulous shows lined up for you. It's going to be less from us and more from a fantastic musician called Fair. She's actually amazing. Well, the guys were doing sound checks earlier, and they were sort of updating me as to how good they were, and yeah, they're all a bit blown away. So I'm excited to introduce her in a minute. Hopefully Luca comes on before then. If he does, if not, then we'll just be having a chat with her as well. But I wanted to share some news. Actually, I had no idea Mr. Captain Tom Moore, the 100-year-old war veteran. Well, I think is it 100 yet? Maybe 100 yet. He initially raised. He was after £1,000. Then it went up to like 5 million. Then it was 12 million. Then it was 15 million. And the final toll today, from what I've found, is 25 million pounds. What a hero. A bit blown away, to be honest. And also in Switzerland, some absolute hero artist. I'm going to share my screen in a second. He is projecting flags onto the side of a mountain. Flags onto. I'm going to show you. That's not photoshopped. That's a real deal. It's like a symbol of solidarity. So they keep on sort of projecting different flags. I'm going to put in actually the tag for this so you can have a good look yourself, because this is amazing. Let me find that. There we go. Put that in the comments for you. Well worth the read. It's a Swiss artist. If you're in the comments, make some noise. I'd like to hear from you. If you're tuning in, like to see what it's about. Hear from you. But I tell you what, Fair, are you ready? Can you hear me? Cool. Right, I'm going to bring you up. Can you hear me? All right.
Yeah, all good.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming on tonight. That's fabulous. How have you? How's the pandemic been panning out for you?
I'm kind of making the best of a bad situation. I work at a bar, so
Okay.
I'm not doing that at the moment. Got furloughed. Wow, I don't even know when now. So for the last like however many weeks it's been, 5 weeks. 4?
Yeah, bloody! It's just going so fast.
Over a month. Yeah, it's mental. I've just been working on some new music. So like I started writing. Working on what I wasn't going to push to anything massive. I was saying like an EP at best.
Yeah.
I started like recording that, working on that right before all of this happened. And then as soon as I couldn't go into work anymore, I was like, right, just throw myself into music, because I've kind of been blessed with some time.
Yeah, amazing.
There's nothing else to do, so I got it all recorded, all finished. And it got to like 5 tracks of stuff that I've been working on for like a year. I think I maybe wrote the first one a year ago. But it's just been like a really mad year of like moving, and a lot of other stuff going on. So
yeah, where are you based?
I'm in Bristol now, so I moved from Falmouth to Bristol like last summer.
From Falmouth?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got good friends in Falmouth.
Which was it's sad to leave, but I just needed to have a bit more space. I miss it a lot though.
I've just had a little comment. Could you bring your mic up a bit more? I thought it might be a little. I thought I had it all right, but maybe at the same time bring a little bit more. Tell you what, bring your guitar up the same amount as well, because that was that was balanced. How's that?
Is that good?
Yeah, we go.
Cool.
There we go. I can hear myself talking though a little bit.
Yeah, no, I literally can't do anything about that. Sorry.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
A little bit now as well.
Can you? We can always turn it down a bit. Actually, Yeah, I'm not sure there's much I can do this end actually. I think we'll go with it. It's not imposing too much actually, to be honest.
Cool. Good.
I mean, actually, just notch it down one little bit, like an increment.
That good?
Yeah,
Cool.
we'll go with it.
No, okay.
I'd rather have your vocals a bit high. Jack James, Carl Williams, Lee Davis. Thanks for tuning in. It's nice to see you all. Hopefully, you can get you on the show a bit later on. It'd be nice to have a natter with you all. Jack, we're supposed to have your little sister, but she's working tomorrow morning, so she wants to get an early night. Anyway, sorry, digress. Back into music. So, you have music out already. Where can we find that?
All on Spotify, Bandcamp, everywhere. You know the usuals.
And using the name Fair.
Fair. It's all on Fair. I've got the first EP, which came out in like 2017 or something.
Right.
And then the album that came out last February, and then the EP that came out just after that, which came out in July, I think, of last year. So this is the first bit of music I've been working on since then.
Okay, cool.
And the first lot of music that I've been writing for
So,
maybe 2 years. So.
And so, how many songs did you say you've been writing since this pandemic, since isolation?
It's weird because I had a few that I wrote over the last year in this album thing that's coming together. It's a mixture of stuff from the last year that I've been working on really slowly, just seeing what would happen with it. Stuff that I sat down and recorded and wrote like last week when I did it all. And then a bunch of like demos and notes off my phone, so just like a lot of little guitar-y loops and lo-fi little recordings and stuff, just like a lot of tiny snippets just to kind of make up for what I've been doing over the last 12 months.
Nice. And how's I'm going to move into sort of how's this isolation process affecting Bristol, because obviously it's a bigger city. We're down in Torbay, so it affects us slightly differently. We've got quite a lot of countryside around us. How are you faring? What's it like?
I mean, it's so weird. I remember when the first night, but it was before we were in lockdown, and I drove to a little village like just outside of Bristol, like the centre.
Yeah.
And it was just weird driving through, like complete ghost town, really eerie.
Really?
Didn't enjoy it. So since then, I haven't really been out. I go out once a day.
Okay.
And then I tend to like keep to the back roads and all the houses because I really don't like. I live right on Gloucester Road.
Right.
And as soon as you get out on there, it's kind of overwhelming how many people are still kind of about doing stuff, going to the shops and going to the post office. So
are they complying with social distancing or not?
Yeah, for the most part, it's just a bit overwhelming because I can't really dodge everybody like I'd like to. So I stick to the back roads. I only get out there if I have to, like if I'm dropping something down to work or going food shopping. I literally live down the road from like 2 supermarkets. So
have you found this to be a nightmare? Like
they're all right actually. It's like
really,
because they're smaller. They're not. I mean, my housemates have been going to like the bigger ones a bit further away, and they're out of a lot of stuff. But the ones near us are really good.
Do you know what? We're all stocked up down where we are now.
Yeah,
it was obviously really tricky for the first 3 weeks, I'd say 2-3 weeks, but now it's just like normal
I'm really surprised
trading.
that there are places still like the bigger ones that are still without stuff, and it's always the same things. Apparently that my housemates have been coming to the ones near us, the smaller ones more, just because they've actually got everything. So, but I mean, I've only done one food shop in the last month, so I haven't really been out. I don't really want to go.
Minimize risks.
Yeah.
So your music history then. So how did it start? Have you a musical family?
Kind of. I guess Mum always played me music. She listened to a lot of Beatles early stuff.
Okay.
The kind of stuff that now I would never ever listen to, but I prefer their later stuff. But that was something that was on all the time. Beatles and Motown. So I guess because music was on all the time, I was always around it. I think I showed quite early on that I loved music and I wanted to play something. I always sang, like I love to sing. So Mum started getting me, signing me up for piano and flute lessons when I was kind of young. And then I did singing lessons. Then I kind of dropped the flute and the piano and picked up guitar, taught myself.
How far along did you get with piano then? Did you go through the grading system?
I've never done a grade other than in vocals. I think I really struggle with having someone else teach me.
Okay.
If
so
the
you
lessons weren't like incredible, then I would just completely get bored. It was like I love music so much. I really had a passion for it, but they would kind of those lessons were sucking all the joy out of it a little bit.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Not to shame.
No. I I'm learning piano.
Oh, cool.
I had I had a few lessons only just to be able to sort of learn some basic technique because I didn't want to sort of fumble my way through
Yeah,
my.
it's a great instrument to have. Once you know it, you can use it for like I used it all through college and uni for theory stuff. But and I wish I had stuck with lessons and done grades and I could be an amazing pianist because I love the piano.
Yeah.
Like I'd love to be able to play it properly, but I can't. So, but I picked up the guitar and I started playing, you know, acoustic in school, just trying to teach myself little bits, doing a lot of covers, and I wasn't really writing anything until I decided to go. You know, I did a music BTEC course, performance thing
Yeah.
in college, which was very like theory based, a lot of performing, and I was an awful performer, like no stage confidence at all, just really awkward to watch, which I probably still am. I don't know why I'm actually
No,
saying
not
this.
at all. You're
But-
smooth, really smooth. Perfect.
Move with them, sat down. And then I went to Falmouth to do, you know, BA music, to follow it more. And then second year, I actually started writing my own stuff. And that's when I
Fantastic.
came up with Fair, and I picked up my electric guitar. I had it for 5 years before that point, and just was like, I can't play that. That's really, you know, daunting. And then I think I was around some really amazing people in that first year of uni, and everyone was like, "You can do it." So I did.
Yeah, right.
And I started
I'll tell
writing
you what.
stuff.
Well, I think we should move into your first songs. How many songs we got from you tonight?
I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potentially. Depends how they go.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna hand it over to you, and then we can have a bit more of a natter afterwards once we've heard some of your music. Once they've all heard,
Cool.
guys and girls in the comments section, please send your love for Fair.
Cool. So this is like an old song of my first EP that I still really really love, called Void, and it kind of inspired a new song that's coming out on the album, and I've kind of mixed them together just because they are basically exactly the same. Lately I've been feeling kinda strange, and I don't know if it's just me or a fear of sudden change, but it's weird, and I'm scared, 'cause I've been having these thoughts late at night, like a constant fight in my mind, and I'm not here half of the time, no, just occupying the space above your head, below the sky. My skin feels delicate, and I'm trying to make use of it, just shake it out with the rest of this, the rest of this. Well, the anxiousness is louder now, and the paranoia is bringing me down, and there's a pressure I'm not meaning to give myself, which means peace is never coming. Oh, him and I, we're running in opposite directions, in opposite directions. shake it out with the rest of this, the rest of this. 'Cause I'm tired of trying to figure out, oh, I'm tired of trying to figure it out, oh, I'm tired of trying to figure out. Sing to me, love, about all the nice things, all memories and all my dreams. How do I deserve? How do I deserve? And tell me how it's the opposite of what I say. That I haven't ruined another day, no, another morning, just morning time of what's going on behind my eyes. How do I deserve? How do I deserve? How do I deserve? You better watch yourself on my words. I can't believe it's not me, and I can't believe I'm not wasting. No, I can't believe it's not me. So I can't believe what you sing. I don't believe it's not me, and I don't believe I'm not wasting. No, I don't believe it's not me. So I don't believe what you sing. Oh, sing to me, love, about all the nice things, all memories and all my dreams. How do I deserve? How do I deserve? And tell me how it's the opposite of what I say. That I haven't ruined another day, no, another morning, just morning time. And what's going on behind my eyes? How do I deserve? don't believe I'm not wasting. I don't believe it's not me. So I can't believe what you sing. I don't believe it's not me. And I don't believe I'm not wasting. No, I don't believe it's not me. So I can't believe what you sing. How do I deserve? How do I deserve? How do I deserve? You better watch yourself on my word. Oh, how do I deserve? How do I deserve? How do I deserve? You better watch yourself on my words, on my words, on my words, on my words. Sorry, I just got a tune. Ooh. This is weird. Cool. That was the new song that I like a lot. This is called Lavender. I haven't played it in a while, so it might be a little rusty. No one is ever going to love me. What's the point in it all anyway? These thoughts are getting toxic, but I can't seem to stop it. No one is ever going to hold me like I want them to. Coming off cold, I'm scared of alone. No way to show. No, I don't want to talk about it. No, I don't want to talk about it. No, I don't want to talk about it. No, I don't. I don't. letters, they sit on my desk. I channeled everything I had towards them. Now they're coming back to life. My love could make it all right. I wanna turn down the lights. I wanna turn down the lights. I wanna turn off all the lights. Thanks. I'm just checking how my phone is doing. It's losing battery quite quickly. Oh, I'm just gonna tune this little boy. I'm gonna try and do an old cover I used to do quite a bit. I don't know why. I've kind of forgotten it, so I'm just gonna guess. Oh, I'm gonna do another cover. This is one I've been doing for quite a while. It's one of my favorite songs ever. Try and play it properly. Yeah, this must be the place for Talking Heads. This must be the place. Home is where I want to be. And turn me around. Oh, I feel numb. Born with a weak heart. I guess I must be having fun. I can't tell one from another. Make it up as we go along. Feet on the ground. Head in the sky, it's okay, I know nothing's wrong, nothing. Oh. I got plenty of time. You've got life. you. This is my last song. Oh. I am very squished in this weird little space. How much? Oh, you know.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, seems to have frozen.
I know.
Oh, we got a nice picture of her though.
That's annoying.
Oh,
I will give her a message. I'm hoping she realizes.
yeah. She will, because I imagine she's got a live stream. Guys, wow. How hauntingly beautiful is she?
Which was incredible. I'm just going to send her a quick message.
I mean, I've been trying to find some extra good news segments, but I was for about 5-10 minutes when she first started, I was completely transfixed. Beautiful, beautiful. Hopefully we can get her back on. I've also
yeah, I hope so.
just had confirmation from a good friend, Carl, the doctor. He is available for a chat in 15 to 30 minutes. So that'll be a nice little segment.
Awesome. Carl the Doctor.
Yeah.
I don't know Carl the Doctor.
Do you not?
What sort of doctoring does he do?
He is a fully qualified GP.
Oh, nice. So all sorts of questions.
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah,
Carl, what's this lump on my...
Yeah. I'm not sure. Is it? Can I just ask the people in the comments? Is it all juddery for you? Because my screen's a bit juddery, and I'm just wondering if there's a global internet issue.
My screen's
for everyone.
perfect.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me.
BT
but yeah.
fiber optic.
Well, there you go.
But
Christina's
I have
Wi-Fi
noticed
is
it's been a
down.
bit rubbish. Christina's Wi-Fi is down. We are sorting it now. Yeah.
Sweet. So we'll have her back on very shortly. That's good news. Oh, hold on. Luca's just spazzed out.
You there?
Yeah, I'm there. Can you hear me?
You spazzed out as well.
What
Yeah, I
is
can hear
this?
you. That was a bit
Dr.
strange.
Carl
wasn't it?
as qualified as Dr. Fox from Pop Idol. I don't even know who that is.
Who's Dr. Fox?
I don't know. I'm tempted to find out.
Just
No,
wiping out the pop
Dr.
idol. Did you say you've got some positive good news?
Well, I did a little bit earlier on, and I was just looking through some other stuff. Something that's a bit more related to my industry. I'm an electrician, as you may or may not know. And there's a new solar cell that's been developed, and a normal solar photovoltaic panel that's on your roofs or in your camper vans. They are like between 15 and 20% efficient in terms of converting what they receive into power. And now they've got panels that are like 50%. So that's
Oh, wow.
a massive increase.
Mate, that'll half your electricity bill.
Exactly.
That's huge.
I'm
Sorry,
wondering.
sorry I was late, mate.
Don't worry. I explained why.
Yeah, it will lash though. Oh my god.
They looked amazing. So basically, Luca, if you aren't aware, is our main man in the kitchen. He's a qualified, super
I
talented
don't know.
chef.
I'm not actually qualified.
Fine.
What
You-
makes you qualified?
when you cook food like you do. I couldn't give no snizzles about what qualifications you got.
Ah,
It's all-
Christina's bad.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, yeah. Hello.
Is she ready?
Sorry.
No
Don't worry.
worries.
Our Wi-Fi has been like acting up every night.
Oh.
Whenever we try and do
Typical that it was on the last song, wasn't it?
That wasn't me being an idiot. That was.
No.
No.
don't.
Yeah. Blame talk.
Oh,
it's
sorry,
a
that
joke.
kind of was a mood killer, but oh well.
Ah, absolutely
was-
not.
Just saying how hauntingly beautiful your music is.
Sorry.
I was just saying how hauntingly beautiful your music is.
Oh, thank you.
Like,
To
I
make
was-
everything that's nice sad.
It's really beautiful and elegant. And
I thought
Sam in the background was sort of like, it has a real like fragility to it.
I thought that was literally incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You literally took me to another place.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk more about it afterwards, but let's hear this last song. That'd be
Yes,
awesome.
This is my favorite.
Oh, awesome.
Like, oh, for
Oh.
goodness sake.
Oh,
Nice curtains.
and mirror.
There we
If I
go.
don't have something to look at, then I'll freak out. So I've got a mirror just so I can stare at myself. That's embarrassing. Right. Oh, my
Oh, there it is again.
Oh, the wonders of live
Yeah.
streaming, ladies and
Good
gentlemen.
old lockdown.
I'm gonna do this. Is that annoying?
You seem to be.
You're doing great.
Is that okay?
It's at 90 degrees for me.
And
Yeah,
me.
no, it's because I put the charger in, so it probably.
Oh,
Have you got your screen lock thing on?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, buddy.
that'll
get
be the
there.
problem. Oh, I'm looking forward to this final song.
Yeah,
right, I'm
me
going to
too.
get on to Dr. Carl.
I wish there was more than one final song though. To be fair, and I think a lot of people feel the same. We've had a lot of love in the comments.
More? No, I'm joking. Yeah, this one's called Grey Sky.
Awesome.
Is this
Super.
everything's back to normal? It's incredible.
Sounds it. Sounds great.
Yeah, this is Grey Sky. It's my favourite. I hope you enjoy it. I need a drink in my hand just to talk. And when it rains, it pours. Oh, am I bringing you down, down, down? Oh, I won't make a sound. I won't make a sound. Crippling's how it feels today. And I can't make the clouds fade away. It snowed this morning. And I think I'm still in mourning. I haven't cried in a while. I must always wear this smile. And my lungs, they are feeling tired now. My eyes are closing, oh, closing eyes. Exhale out. Exhale out. I can feel it coming now, but I can't let it out. Try and turn it around, but I can't let it out. I can't make a sound. So dry your eyes once more. They can hear me through the walls. Dry your eyes once more. Make sure my door is closed. 'Cause if my door is closed, well then you should know I'm not doing so well. Can't you tell from the way I've been? Wish I could tell you why. Wish I could tell you why. Thank you. The end.
Wow.
Blimey.
That
Wow,
was,
wow,
That
wow.
was awesome. Christina, I'm going to remove your camera from your laptop and we'll move to your phone. Is that all right?
Yes.
So you might want to turn your volume up on your phone.
Okay.
Cool.
And maybe change the mic settings if she needs to.
Yeah, well done. Just need to unmute your mic, Christina, on your phone.
And we
Hello.
got her. Hello. How's it going?
Thank you.
Good.
Thanks so much. That was literally incredible.
Beautiful music.
Yeah,
you.
amazing. Like I liked what Sam said. It was like hauntingly beautiful. And after
Yeah, I've
after
had
the
that before.
after the sound check today, I told my partner about you. I was like, you'd love this girl. Like this is so up her street. It was incredible. Like yeah, I don't really know what to say. I'm a bit taken back by it all.
It's sort of I do a bit of guided meditation from time to time, and it sort of left me feeling like I do at the end of like a 15-20 minute little mindfulness session, just really chilled. You can't
Yeah.
help but like immerse yourself in the sounds. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. I
And
relate
really-
to that. Sometimes I come off like from playing and just feel really exposed and weird because
Yeah.
it's like you're completely taken out of that like headspace and then you're back in
Proper
reality.
zen. Really,
Amazing.
yeah, really beautiful. Thank you so much. And what's your hopes for after all this pandemic's over? Are you hoping to do a bit more musicking?
You're
Yeah,
writing an album,
hopefully.
aren't you?
I just kind of got, well, I didn't just get here, but I'm kind of starting to gig around Bristol a bit more. So hopefully as soon as we can, I can get out and get gigging. Hopefully I'll have like a release show for this album, and that should be
Nice. We'll definitely come.
coming out later in the year. I hope. I want it out this year, but I don't want to put too much pressure on it. But I'd really like it to be out at the end of summer if it could be.
Nice.
Got
I
lots
think
of
that's-
time on your hands.
I think that's a really important point that you sort of made there, that with like art and music, it's good that you haven't like sort of put pressure on yourself. You've given yourself a rough deadline, but it's ready when it's ready, sort of thing. And I think that's so
Yeah,
important.
I mean, I say that, but I don't really act how I am literally saying, because I do put a lot of pressure on everything that I
Yeah.
do. And if I'm not making music, I feel like I'm not really excelling at all. Or
Okay.
if I'm not being productive, I have
Yeah.
no substance. So
A lot of
if I say things like, it doesn't matter when it comes out, it's like,
it's a lie.
hopefully I'll put a bit less pressure on myself, but I probably will not stick to that at all.
A lot of artists that we've had on, and I've actually started doing it myself over the last 3 days, is they've given themselves this like 30-day song challenge. So you just like make
Oh, yeah, I've been doing
30
that.
songs a day. Yeah, I'm on day 3 and I'm loving it.
Oh, cool.
But I think yeah. So how many days in are you on that then?
Oh, do you mean like writing?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, no, I haven't been doing that. No. I mean, I did like, I think I would like to do that. I've seen some people do it, but I feel like that would be completely counteracting like what I don't want to do, because I don't want to put pressure on myself to make something every day. If I could do
course.
that, then that would be great. But if I'm pretty hard on myself, so if I can't do that in a day, then I'm gonna just feel like crap. So
Yeah.
it was kind of like with the few songs that I wrote on the album the other week, like the last to go on there, I had a really vague idea, and as soon as they started to kind of come into something and turn into like a song, I was like, I don't want this to be like a headache. I want this to be, as soon as it started to kind of form into something, I was like, cool, that's done. I'll come back to it later. Like,
Yeah. Nice.
so I managed to do like 2, I think I did a couple of songs in a couple of days, but
Wow.
since then, I haven't really done.
You really get in the flow, can't you? I guess.
Yeah.
Just once you're in that headspace, it's sort of you end up in this creative space that lasts a little time. I mean, again, like
it
really,
just takes a while to get into that headspace. I'm like, I really, really want to write a ton of songs this week, or I really want to give myself some time to do music. And it's like getting from that point to actually doing
Yeah.
it is really hard work. I don't know why. It's like the
gotta
thing I
feel
love
right
to do
naturally,
most,
right?
but I don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. But
Wow.
Yeah, that was amazing. What?
Jack, we got a question as well. Jack, what's your pedal? Help the people.
A pedal is this little. It's fairly new. I got it. Can you see that? Slow.
Oh, there we go. What
It's
is
a
it?
Walrus slow reverb.
Nice.
Oh shit.
Beautiful sound.
But yeah, it's fairly new, but it's just perfect for what I needed a reverb to be, really. It showed me in the demo that I watched before I bought it. They were playing Explosions in the Sky, which kind of sold it for me. So
Nice.
that's why I got that one.
Yeah, sweet. So what would you say are your main influences? What have you been listening to anybody new since lockdown? Because now we've got all this time on our hands.
Yeah, actually, I've kind of been doing the opposite. I used to like playlist songs all the time, and I'd listen to my Discover Weekly. Like when I first started writing music as Fair, I started to really educate myself on what kind of music I wanted to make myself, or just people that I felt super inspired by. So I started this playlist called A Playlist by Fair, which was just anything that helped me get to a place where I felt like I could make music as good, or wanted to attempt to, actually write my own stuff. So I love that playlist, and I add to it every so often. But I kind of really got out of the habit of doing that and actively listening to music and playlisting what I liked and being obsessed with a song or like an artist for ages. So it's been on my list of things to do for months and months, just to go through my old playlists, sort them out, just not get so overwhelmed by all the music that I love, and just have like everything nice and organized and categorized, because that's
Story of my life.
That's like the opposite of me.
Is it?
No,
Are you
I'm
like
terrible. I'm like socks on the floor kind of guy.
oh yeah,
I'm
no,
chaotic.
Is
Chaotic creative.
But yeah, so at the very, very like first week of lockdown, I sat down, went through all my, saved music and stuff, and just updated those playlists, and went through A Playlist by Fair and a few others, and like completely rediscovered love for so many pieces of music that I just had completely forgotten about, and so many pieces of music that they are so nostalgic for me. They remind me of like 2 summers ago in Falmouth, living by the beach, like walking around listening to those
They're lovely.
tracks,
Nice.
and it was really, really nice to like go back over those, and so I've been trying to spend less time watching TV and just sit with music. And
Awesome.
nice?
Yeah.
I DJ, so I have a very similar situation to you. Like I've got 15 years worth of music, and you sort of end up doing the newer release stuff in your newer sets, because obviously you want to keep it up to date. And frequently I sort of go back and I sort of pick out a song, and it sort of takes me back to a club I did in Torquay, and it's just transcending music, and that's the beauty of music for me.
I think
kind of
the best thing about what you were saying, Christina, is about when you go back to those old playlists and you find those nostalgic songs.
yeah,
But there's so many nostalgic songs, but the ones that really stick out for me are the ones that they sounded great then, but they make more sense now. If that
Yeah,
makes
definitely.
sense in terms of like writing music. You're just like, wow,
Yeah,
I didn't
I think
like I
that's
didn't
the
hear
only
that bit back then, but like that bit's amazing. And then you can sort
Yeah.
of learn from that, right?
and you pick out new stuff, like you might have listened to it 1,000 times, but there's always going to be something you missed or whatever.
Definitely. It's always the worst when you listen to old bands or old songs, you're like, how did I even like that?
Yeah, or when you listen to something and think, why did I used to hate that? I could have actually, my life could have been improved by listening to the song on repeat. Didn't think I liked
It's
it.
like,
and now I do.
at least you're listening to it now.
Did you ever follow a trend in music, or did you always have like your own sort of stamp on the stuff you liked and just kept true to yourself? Or because I mean, as I was growing up, I was sort of governed by like school friends and stuff to a part. And I
That's
sort
a
of
good
listened
point,
back to that
actually.
music.
What did you listen to growing up?
Yeah, I don't know really. I was like always kind of I was a big McFly fan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Their
And
songs are
Busted broke
great.
up, But Busted, if they hadn't broken up, obviously, I still listen to that. They are my car tunes, and they keep
Busted.
me awake when I like want to fall asleep driving. Yeah, I think I still.
Yeah,
do
they're
that.
amazing. But then so is his other band, Fight Star, if you're a bit of a
What?
goth.
Fight Star, I was super into.
Oh,
So then I went from
man.
Busted to McFly to Paramore to Fight Star.
Yeah, Fight Star.
Paramore,
Sick.
man.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you heard
obsessed.
Fight Star, Charlie?
I haven't, mate. No.
Charlie Simpson's like
intense.
goth band, man. It's amazing.
I used to DJ rock music.
Did you?
Do you remember down Trent's?
Who?
At Trent's?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a couple of bits down there.
Nice.
Me and AJ had a set once or twice.
So McFly
Rocking
and
up.
Busted were your main
yeah,
vibe.
April. And then I went from Fight Star and Paramore to like, I don't know. Who did I like after that? I think then I grew up and realized that there was a lot more than just those two. And like got into kind of like lo-fi alternative stuff. And then when I got to uni, I didn't want to just do, I think it was hard because I, for a really long time, knew I wanted to do music, but I was like, I'm a female, singer-songwriter who has now an acoustic guitar, or maybe that's what I should be doing. I should be doing like Laura Marling. I listened to a lot of Laura Marling.
Love Laura Marling, man.
I kind of felt like I had to do the same kind of thing because I hadn't
You felt
exposed myself to
pigeonholed.
enough, like musicians that I was like, oh, I could do that. What I thought I could do, I didn't really gel with that much. Like I didn't resonate with me so much. And then I was inspired by Ben Howard, people like that. But I was always a bit like, they're guys, they can do it, I can't do it. So then I got to uni and I was really happy that I met some wonderful people that shared their music with me. And that's when I heard Grouper for the first time. I was really into Daughter at the time as well. I think I was slowly getting
Daughter,
into that
great,
kind of
man.
phase. Yeah, and Anna Torna's lyric writing was like a massive inspiration. I just thought her metaphors and everything she wrote was stunning. And her solo thing that she's just started doing is bloody good too. But
You'd have to send me that.
what, her solo?
Yeah, that'd be great. But in terms of
Yeah, it's really.
what you were saying, like only dudes can do that. You're so wrong. I think
Oh, I know. But
I'm
I
not
didn't
just
know.
saying it because you've come on here tonight, but in a long time, I haven't had anyone as strong. I feel like you've nailed your sound, and I feel like you're comfortable within your sound. And I've never had someone so strong within. I can't really explain. Like, you just seem really comfortable, and the way it translates,
think
when
I am,
you're
and I think-
playing is stunning. And I think you should never
I definitely.
don't ever knock yourself. You're
Oh
friggin'
no, I think
awesome.
I just wasn't aware of what I could be doing because I wasn't listening to enough female artists that were inspiring me to do that. I think I really needed to just hear someone and be like, she can do it, I can do it. Because
Yeah,
until I
totally.
did, I just was a bit like in the dark about it all. And when I had Grouper and stuff like that, I was like, I just remember the first time I heard Alien as Observer by Grouper, I think I like burst into tears because I was like, I want to do that. And
You
I think
finally
that's probably
found your
why I'm
path,
so
sort of thing.
comfortable. Yeah.
I'll have to
I
check
think I'm just
Grouper
so
out.
grateful that I finally found what I wanted to be making.
You're gonna have to send us
Oh.
some links after
Yeah.
this and
It's
educate
so
me.
right.
So when was your
Yeah,
first?
so-
When was your first live set? When did you first play out? And how was that?
I think-
Was that like?
fair, or like when I actually started writing my own stuff. Because I performed a lot in, high school and college, but I was super, super awkward and didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then I think my first gig was when I got to film. Oh, it was an open mic at the Stanley Bar. I went to uni with one of my good friends from college who also did the same course as me. Like we both went from doing music to music, and she was like, "Let's go and do this open mic at Stannery." And I was like, "Okay, I can probably manage 3 songs." And I did I did Candles by Daughter, and I did a Hosier song, which is really bizarre.
Nice.
Love those years.
Something about cherries, or maybe I've forgotten what that song is. And then I did a Bombay Bicycle Club
Yeah, Bombay Bicycle
right.
Club.
because I think that's all I could manage, and I was super, super nervous. And then I started doing a few gigs at Jacob's Ladder and stuff.
Nice.
And then a year later, I decided that I was actually going to have like a style. That's when I started playing electric and doing guitar loops and having effects and getting a pedal board set up and stuff.
you-
So that was like a year later after my first gig. I decided to change my name, do Fair. Then it was like, it's such personal music. I didn't want to
Yeah.
be like Chris Smith in the spotlight. So I just started doing this fair thing, and I think that was a big game changer too. Like changing my name just made me feel so much more comfortable.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Because you got your own identity then, sort of new fresh chapter in your career and sort
Yeah,
of
it's
journey.
like I know what music I want to make now. Let's start fresh.
Yeah, nice.
And only make music I want to make and not feel pigeonholed or like I had to do something else.
So with regards,
Definitely.
so we've seen your effects pedal, but I'd also like to talk about, so you've got a looping station as well. Could you run us through your setup?
It's so tiny. It's a bit dark in there.
Oh, that's all right. You don't. If so, you got a loop station. Is that one of the Korg stations?
Huh?
Let's have a look. See what we
What'd you
got.
say?
I was wondering what loop station you've got.
Can you hear me? Oh,
Oh,
right, it's
nice.
this guy. It's the tiniest thing in the world. And I
Wow.
got
Oh
it
wow.
in on my birthday in 2016. There he is.
How many
And that's it.
loops can you do on it?
Volume. You can do like loads of layers, but it's pretty like I don't know how long you could go on for. It's very, very like
Okay.
standard, simple.
Nice.
One
But-
switch does everything. But
I
Everything
thought it
you
was going to
need.
be one
I
of
would
those
like
big
to
Boss
invest
DD20
in
things.
that, but it does
Yeah,
something.
yeah. That was the brand. Boss, not
Huh?
Korg. Sorry.
I thought it was going to be one of those big Boss DD20s, but nah, that's awesome. It's nice to see they've got smaller.
No.
Amazing.
Well, I would love one, but I think I got that years ago, and it's just stuck around.
Mate, it does the job. It's awesome. Sounded great.
So
Thank you,
just to recap, so where can we hear your music? Because now we've heard it, we're going to want to know where it is again.
It's all on Spotify, Bandcamp, under Fair. My
There's the link right
playlist
there.
too on there.
We've just put a link to your
I've
Facebook page
organised
as
them
well.
all, so that's nice and fresh. Yes, Facebook and Instagram are probably most active on, so follow me on there if you want to. It's fairmusic_.
Fantastic.
Facebook, Spotify, Bandcamp. Please go on Bandcamp. There's a couple of like little demo-y stuff. Oh no, SoundCloud. I'm also on there with a few like more demo.
You're on
things and
everything.
covers and stuff if you want to hear.
Definitely.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Fair. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Really, 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 really
No worries.
loved it and really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you for having me. That's
absolutely incredible.
Whilst you're playing, all the pub landlords in the background were nattering on the messenger, sort of saying how incredible you were. So yeah, carry on the good work because you've got a good fan
Thank
base
you
here
very much.
already. No, thank you.
perfect.
Cheers, Faye. Have a lovely evening, mate. Wow,
She was great.
sick. We got someone in the background here as well. We got a doctor in our midst.
Dr. Kyle.
Should we bring him in? Carl, can you hear me? Can you see me? Oi,
Here
oi.
we go. Oh,
Yes. Oh,
there he is.
How are we doing?
yeah,
Good.
good.
How you doing?
Hello, buddy.
Hello, mate. Finally got you
Hello,
on.
buddy. Hello, buddy.
Dr. Kyle, I've got an issue.
What's
Are you
that?
there?
Is it the
Oh.
hat?
I've got a lump.
That's your penis, mate. That's your penis.
There's a lump. There isn't. Sorry.
Carl, mate. How's work?
That's all right. So I did Devon Doctors yesterday, Newton Abbott, from 1 to 11. It was good. Some sick people for different reasons. Some weird sort of young man came and showed me a lump in his groin. That was odd. He had a silly hat on as well.
Was it me?
Yeah. That was good. It was all right. So yeah, we're seeing how things go.
Are we here talking about doctor and stuff, or are we here talking about your crest?
So to
So,
press yourself
I-
before you wreck yourself.
I would like to talk about both, actually, if we can.
Well,
I understand that the hospital thing could be sensitive, but I'd certainly like to know what's going on inside and how everyone's coping. The NHS staff and stuff, are they working like in stupid hours, or is everyone sort of managing with the load?
yeah, no, I think yeah, people are working hard hours and long hours, and it's very different if you're in a hospital to whether you're in GP land, and it's every day is brand new. And in all honesty, we're learning as we go along.
Wow.
Right.
So, there's things about PPE, then there's things about how it can be transmitted, then there's something else about how you can detect it. The testing system that we've got was viral antigen, which is where you pick up the virus. So you know if you've got it now, and then it's antibody testing, but then that's been delayed, and then there's been some worries about that. It's a really difficult thing, and I don't think we know fully how it's going to pan out.
Because I've got friends in London. They work for a radio station, and the word from sort of London City's the powers that be are saying that they're going to be in social distancing for the next 12 months. Is that something likely to be down here, do you think, with what you're seeing? Or do you feel like we're on top of it?
In some ways, we're lucky because we already social distance to an extent. So living in Devon and Cornwall, we're rural.
We're not on top of each other either.
Exactly. So if you look at how bad New York City got hit, that's because they can't socially distance.
I've been looking at the numbers at New York, and it's shocking.
Horrible.
Oh, really?
How big it's gone.
Absolutely horrible numbers.
Italy was at like 80,000 cases like last week, and New York was at like 200,000. Not
What?
New York, America.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Like
So
bad.
We basically we are lucky in Devon and Cornwall and Somerset because we naturally self-isolate before this because we're rural. But so we can get to learn how other people manage it. The problem is because we're not going to have a big peak, we may not have the big come down. So we may have this for longer. And actually, the whole country might have this for longer. And it looks like, from what we're hearing, is that social distancing has worked really well. Because there was going to be a massive spike, which we're now not going to see.
Yeah.
What we're going to see is a longer, drawn-out battle.
Is that why they built the big hospitals in the like big arenas?
Yeah, the Nightingales.
Have they used them?
Yeah, Nightingales are operational now. What we don't know is whether the other Nightingales are going to happen.
What are the Nightingales? Sorry, can you explain that?
So a Nightingale hospital is basically an impromptu intensive care unit where you go if you're ventilated when the hospitals can't cope. And it's effectively it's an intensive care unit at one end, and at the other end is a mortuary.
Oh wow!
Right, flipping X like a.
So it's really it was planned to be serious stuff, but the social isolation thing seems to be working. The difficulty with it is it means we might have this for longer.
Yeah.
We might have a lower death rate, but for a longer time.
Right.
As opposed to a big spike and then we come down the other side just as quick. As quick as this goes up, more probably it's going to be about as quick as it goes down.
So, in terms of like mental health cases, then, because Devon Doctors, you guys have got a whole. Well, you've got the crisis team up at the NHS. Is that all still running as normal? And has that seen an increase as well as like
massive
virus?
Absolutely massive.
Really?
So so the thing which has been really interesting for me is people phoning up and saying, and I'd really like to get you boys' opinion on this. People phoning up and saying, actually, I'm just too anxious to go to work because I visit my mum once a week, or I do this or I do that, but I'm outside of what the government's official letter says, which is I'm in a shielding group, but I don't want to.
What?
So what we have to do is then decide, is that a reasonable reason not to go to work? Is it a reasonable reason to say to someone, actually, maybe you should be in a shielding group because let's say you've had a lung removed for whatever reason and you've got this and you've got that. So each thing doesn't individually put you in a high risk group, but together, actually, as a doctor, I really wouldn't want you going outside. So we're dealing with that. And then also some people are just really, really worried.
Yeah, it's fair enough, though, right?
It absolutely is. But
that's
the thing
completely
is,
rational.
And I'll open up, is that worry enough for me to sign you off work?
And you can't sign everyone off work or if we're screwed.
Nope.
Depends on if you're
No.
signing people off of based on a checklist. Like, do they comply with this, this, and this? If that's the case, then no.
So
But
if you
on a
came to me,
moral
Johnny,
level,
if you came to me and you said, so if you came to me 6 months ago and you said, look, I've had a really difficult time, lost my job, or relationships are difficult, or money's difficult, or I've got a bereavement, I'm really struggling, I could really do with a month off work, I'd sign the form. I would sign the
Yeah.
form and you'd have a month off, and I'd give you loads of support, and I'd say, look, here's these people you can talk to. We might even, if it might be a longer term thing, talk about antidepressants. We might do, and we might even
I've
prescribe
had
them.
to go down that road before.
Yeah, and we
Just
might talk
anxiety,
about that.
it's terrible.
But the difficulty is now everyone's worried, and we are getting a ramp up in calls. And what do I say to those people?
I'd
Do I
stick
say
with
to them,
it.
well, you're all right, it's difficult for everyone? Or do you
Yeah.
say, well, no, you've got genuine anxiety, and this is the thing, is that have they got coronavirus anxiety or genuine anxiety? And actually, the thing I don't know is, does it matter? Should I sign them off anyway? Or actually, should people be told, no, you have to work. Everyone's going through it. I turn up and I've got to wear the full gowns because I'm a young GP. So I see the high risk cases. I'm going to work.
Okay.
So, but it's different. Everyone is different. And honestly, I don't know what the answer is. And I don't think many people do.
I think you're more informed though, right? And you know the proper PPE procedures. Your average, like my partner, she's a dental nurse and she has the same issues. She's working on
Dentists have had a rough ride.
Yeah, man, right? So it's really tricky. It's multifaceted. There's no one universal yes or no, in my opinion. I mean, ultimately, if you're scared, that's not unwarranted and that's not irrational. Like, you look at the media any day, all you're seeing is how many people are dying. You don't know when you've got it. You don't. It's gestation. What's the period between when you've got it and when you actually have symptoms? Is it gestation period?
About 5 days, 5 to 7 days.
5 to 7 days, and you could.
I think
that's
I've had
mad.
it.
Do you?
So yeah, well, I never know though because I never got tested. I had like sore throat for like 3 weeks.
So we can find out in about 3 or 4 weeks. We
Nice.
can do an antibody test
But
on you.
this
and we
is
can
the
tell you.
weird. This is the weird bit, Carl. So I had a sore throat for a couple of weeks, and I was like, maybe it's just anxiety and stress about this coronavirus. And then all of a sudden, I was like dry cough, and then I was like a bit dizzy, a bit weird, and then the dizziness sort of went away. And it was like persistent dry cough for about 5-6 days. After that, it sort of cleared up. I still cough now and again. Now this is like 3 weeks later. But the weird thing was about 2 days later, my missus got really sick, like in bed. She got given stuff for an ear infection as well. And then on the 5th day, this cough just appeared. After she felt better, and then she got worse. And then this cough appeared. And then she was sort of coughing for like 3 or 4 days after that. And then she sort of recovered. But it's not as extreme as what the news people say. So it's really confusing.
And I know, and what we're learning is a third of people have no symptoms, and this is probably the biggest reason that the biggest problem we've had with tracking it.
So do you think there's a chance that we could have had it?
Yeah, I could have had it. You two could have had it.
And that makes it even more scary because you may not ever show symptoms. You may be a transmitter. You may pass it on to someone because you're like, I've been isolating for the last 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
There's no way I've got it. I've not got any symptoms, so I'm absolutely well and fine. And you.
So
mate,
the thing is a third of people they reckon won't have symptoms. So let's say you get off the bus, and you've put a sweet in your mouth, you've touched your mouth, and then you grab the handrail and you go off the bus. The next person who comes in grabs the handrail. They're 85-year-old. They've got heart failure. They've got COPD. They've got all these other conditions. Could be the transmission route. It could. I mean, look. Everyone who self-isolates has to breathe. So if self-isolating was 100%, you would suffocate. You have to get oxygen from somewhere, from the cracks through the window, from the cracks in the doors, from your letterbox, from whatever else. It's never going to be 100%. What we're trying to do is delay it. So what we've done with self-isolating is effectively manage how many people get it. And the
Yeah.
problem we had with the big peak is if we had a massive spike, we go past the NHS capacity to manage it, and people would die because there aren't enough ventilators, and because there aren't, which is why the Nightingales were brought in, or one Nightingale was brought in to manage that extra capacity, and it has patients in it.
And
we might not need the other ones.
There's been a couple of interesting comments here. Virus shedding can go up to 22 days. True or false?
Probably could.
What does that mean? Sorry, what's virus shedding?
So virus shedding means, as a person who has had coronavirus, how long are you infectious for? So if I contracted the virus on day 1, I might start getting symptoms about day 5 or day 7, because your immune system takes a while to ramp up and to figure out what's going on. And then actually when your load hits a certain level, your body recognizes it, makes you feel poorly, you hunker down, you don't want to do anything, you feel rotten, and you ride it out. But
wow,
that may well be true. I've not seen the paper that has come from. I saw it was Andrew Swampy, who I know. But yeah, it could well be true that 3 weeks could well be a reasonable period. We also know that the antibody tests can take 3 weeks from contraction of the virus up until maybe 4 weeks. So we've got a really difficult period in picking this virus up, because you either want to detect it when you've got a high viral load, which is called PCR, polymerase chain reaction. You pick up the viral, what's called RNA. It's not DNA like what we've got, it's RNA in viruses. You can pick that up, or you wait until the body's made antibodies, and then you can pick them up a month down the line. And I think we're in the stage where, because we don't know who's symptomatic, we may well be looking at doing retrospective analysis and saying, well, actually, why don't we test everyone in 3 months' time and see who's had it?
So is that why I believe it's Amy Vian?
Yeah.
Not only that, some people's swabs are coming back negative, but are very clearly positive. And could that be the reasons for what you're saying? As in, they're doing a test in the wrong period of time.
Yeah. So it absolutely could well be. So what we call the IG, so immunoglobulin. You've got IgG and you've got IgM. IgM is what we call like an acute phase immunoglobulin. So if you have something in your body, the IgM is a thing which is made really quickly to fight that, whatever it is, a bacteria, a virus, or whatever. When you fought it off, your IgG starts to pick up. Your IgG is basically your immunity. So if you see that thing again, it's your IgG which can ramp up. So you've basically got an acute phase response, and then what you've got is an immune knowledge for the next time you have it. And the next time you have it, your IgG goes, hang on a second, we know this, we can fight it. Now,
I know, Harry.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look at a lot of the tests that have been done now, you've got IgG and IgM, and we're not. It looks like it's not clear at what time period they are detectable. Certainly with our tests, and it's
so confusing, isn't it?
But also, it's the fact that if 30% are asymptomatic, one of the three of us, more or less, the chances are, has had it.
That's mad.
See, and this is like, I'm an electrician, so I'm on the key worker list, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I have had it and I've not showed any symptoms, am I still can I still have a virus shedding phase of 22 days potentially?
Yes, 100%.
Right. So I could spend the next 21 days going through people's homes, touching door handles, keeping my social distancing as I should. But I could be touching door handles, doing what I can in terms of PPE, but you can't be immaculate. You're not going to go in there and not leave a trace of yourself.
And this comes back to what I said before. You're never going to be perfect, because if people self-isolated perfectly, they would suffocate, because they wouldn't get air in and they wouldn't get air out.
Absolutely.
So what we're trying to do is delay it.
Yeah. Your home is not a hermetically sealed containment pod, is it?
Exactly.
Right.
We're not living in a bubble. The air is there. And there's been lots of things to say how long coronavirus can survive for. There's been studies that say, on some plastics, some woods, it's been, days. Other surfaces, it's hours. Either way, it's a really, really infectious.
Can something like that live on plastic for days? I saw that and I was like, surely that's fake news, man. If it's out in the open,
But it's not a bug.
Like-
It's not a bacteria. It doesn't need anything to. So the
it doesn't need anything to
difficulty-
feed.
No, because it's a
What?
virus. So
Oh,
a virus. So there's a big argument that goes on about whether a virus is a living organism.
What?
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 So a
Mate,
virus. So a bacteria is
I'm
a
gonna
cell.
fly to Mars tonight. Fuck this.
So a bacteria is a cell. A bacteria has to take things in, has to deal with it, and has to push it out. A virus is a collection of proteins in genetic sequencing that can't survive or replicate on its own. It needs a host. So
Which
it needs
is
a
us.
cell. And when it goes into a cell, the reason it's called RNA is because it doesn't have DNA. DNA is what cells have. A virus has RNA. What it does is it goes into a cell and then it attaches itself on and it replicates in a cell and it makes lots and lots and lots of copies of itself. Usually or often the cell bursts and then you release lots of the virus and then they go into another cell. That's how viruses work. So there's a big argument about whether a virus is even a living thing. But the truth is, if you leave it on the surface, it doesn't really need anything to survive as a normal organism would. That might need oxygen or food. It doesn't poo. It doesn't need this or all the rest of it. It is a protein sequence.
Mate, you telling me viruses have just like appeared out of like evolution?
Yeah. So a virus is probably how you know how we evolved from all different things. A fish walked out the water,
Yeah.
and then it came into land. So everything started in the sea, probably because of sulfur and all
But
the rest
the
of
only
it.
thing
the
is-
volcanic thing,
is-
or lightning.
It doesn't need anything to stay alive. How?
It
Not an
does.
organism.
It will have just sort of erode, won't it? It'll just like disappear over time, or sunlight will kill it.
Yes, sunlight. So this is the
UV?
thing about it. So the thing which is going to kill it is really interesting is sunlight, because so over time, because it's just a protein sequence, it will degrade. Because other things that are in whatever medium it's in, which might be water, it might be phlegm, it might be something else, there will be reactive species, chemical species in there, which will alter it enough that it doesn't function as a virus. In the same way that if you put it in the sunlight, ultraviolet radiation will charge it or other things to kill it.
So you're saying ultraviolet radiation. So does that not mean you can just like, hey, Kyle, I've got coronavirus, just like plug me with radiation and it's gone?
Well, why do you think flu happens in the winter?
Yeah.
No sunshine, mate. Transfers.
Yeah.
So,
Doesn't like
how
it.
long? How long?
Africa,
can you-
how many
I'm loving
coronavirus
this
cases have you seen in
biology
Africa?
lesson, by the way. I know it's for the wrong reasons, but like this is super cool.
No, I love it. But so Africa, you know, we've seen Cameroon, Nigeria, the Niger, Ethiopia. Ever heard of them about having loads of coronavirus cases?
No. What about Russia though? That's a bit
funny.
weird. They're near China. Conspiracy theory.
Which is theory.
Wow. The Russians got hardly any, man. Or North Korea. Just saying.
How many are reported?
Shall I have a look?
So-
Oh yeah,
I
how many
got-
reported? That's a
How
different
many,
story,
how many
isn't it?
reported the actual? Because I think China got stung for that recently, didn't they? That they underreported.
Yeah. and
Yeah,
that-
in the
don't
early
China-
days, the people are talking about suing them and that.
Well, didn't
Yeah.
China? Isn't the reason the government, the American government, are sort of a bit pissed off at China is because China
Chinese
are the ones that sort of finance the WHO. And I
Yeah,
think they
possibly.
finance.
So there's going to be a big thing about what's called zoonotics, which
Oh,
is the
that's,
transfer of viruses from animals to people. And the feeling is this is where it's come from in places like Wuhan, where they eat. You know, if you look at the Carl Pilkington Traveling Abroad, where he does that sketch about, there's scorpions being eaten off sticks. They open an egg and eat a fetus. There's turtles being eaten. Animals have viruses.
Yeah,
Really,
right.
really do have viruses, and in some cases, you have to get the right transport medium, which might be the stomach, to get them into humans. And there's the feeling that that's what's happened. People
Really?
ate bats had the virus, that's where it's come from. Is the most common thought about it. And if you bring lots of different animals together from different islands, they will develop different diseases. And if you bring places together which have got diseases which an immunity hasn't ever seen, it's going to go pretty wild.
Well,
Maybe,
it's the same-
maybe not, Dr. Kyle, mate. I've just had a look on the worldometer.
Worldometer.
Yeah.
That's a bloody good one, that.
Have you been on it?
Meter.
42,000 cases in Russia. But this is what I was saying about America, right? So Italy today, and this has been going on in Italy since mid-February, right? They got 178,000 cases. America, 761,000.
Have you seen the hilarious timeline? Like it's a meme / video of Donald Trump's sort of releasing information saying we've got this under control, and it's put on like calendar, like day one. Yeah, we've nipped this into the bud. There's no problems. We're going to be fine. We're going to be rid of this in 2 weeks' time. Then the video 2 weeks' time was like we had no idea this was coming and it was going to be this severe. It's just like a hilarious video. I'm going to try and find it and put it in the feed because it's just laughable. So. But going back to your original question, then, do you boys think that I should be writing doctor's notes for a
Turtle
month?
soup, delicious.
I 100% think you should.
Do what? Sorry.
I said, going back to your original question at the beginning of the show, like, do us boys think you should be writing month doctor notes for anyone that calls? I'm just like, yeah, indiscriminately, yes.
It's a hard one, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah, fuck right.
I think you'd give me one. I've got previous.
So everyone would do it. Everyone would do it.
Previous. I've been to the doctors a couple of times about anxiety.
I'm not writing you a note. You have to do. I'm not doing it.
You'd write me one, though, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, 100%. Mainly for that hat.
And the lump on my inner groin. You told everyone about us, Kyle. I hope your missus isn't watching.
Micro penis is a very good reason to be signed off work long term. Don't you
It's
worry.
a grower, not a shower.
At least you've got hair, buddy. I'm struggling over here.
You don't want to
got
see
it.
it down there, mate.
Glorious.
Are you
It's
seeing
like,
the comments?
it's like the
coming in?
woods near Chernobyl, mate. It's on fire.
Fuck me. He says, you're a legend, Carl, trying to explain the answer questions that would
Yeah.
that world leaders can't answer. Sorry, I'm incredibly tired.
Oh, I
today.
can't even see
Been a long week.
it. Is there a talk function? Is there?
Sorry, mate. There is a comment section. You might not have it on your phone. Oh, Luke.
No,
can you
no,
get it
no,
on your
man.
phone?
No, man. If any questions, fire in here. Happy to do.
Yeah. That's,
Someone said you'd bring the whole economy to a standstill if you gave everyone a sick note.
You
the
would?
economy is at
Warren-
standstill.
Absolutely true. So my reply to that would be, and I'd love to know because I don't know the answer. As a doctor, how do I distinguish general anxiety, which is a really real thing and people struggle with, from health anxiety, which again is a really real thing that I see, from coronavirus anxiety? And is it a real thing?
That's so interesting. You call it
is that
health
something that is
anxiety.
real? Because if it's so, a lot of people are phoning me with coronavirus anxiety, and actually, when you look at the notes, they're not someone who can be furloughed. They're not working because their line of work hasn't managed through it, and they say, "Well, actually, no, I can't work, and I'm too worried to go to work."
Yeah.
It's a real
I
hard
don't know,
one.
and I'd love the opinion of yourselves and other people. You know, we talk about this an awful lot. Health anxiety is really real, and a lot of people are really worried about their health. And case by case, we do sign them off. Work.
I wake up once every like 3 or 4. Every 3 or 4 weeks, I have this like 2-day period where I'm like, oh, what was that? Oh, what was that feeling like? I hope I'm not dying. Oh, was that like heart palpitation? I'm about to have a heart attack. I'm like just like praying out in my head. It does my nut in. Drives me mad. But beta blockers are great.
Propanolol?
Yes, awesome. I don't take them every day. I take them when I feel shit, or when I literally can't deal with it. I'll just smash one.
So interesting thing about that is, so going to anxiety, anxiety's got two components to me. It's got a mental health component, which are the things which make you anxious.
Yeah.
But a massive part of anxiety is physical anxiety because it's the fight or flight response.
Yeah.
So if you're worried
That's
about
horrible.
something, exactly. If you're worried about something, then your heart rate goes up because you release adrenaline, and then adrenaline starts circling around. You start breathing faster, and because your heart's beating faster, you then become aware of it, and your heart starts hammering away, and then you feel it, and then you start hammer, and then your fingers, you start getting the
tinglies.
Nervous.
I've had it before when my hands are cramped up.
Exactly.
Horrible.
So you start getting all of that, and it becomes horrible, and then you have a panic attack. And
But
actually,
then-
that's where the breathing into the the breathing into the bag.
Does that work?
It
Does.
does the same thing actually. Your mouth
Unless you're in like Poland sniffing glue.
Poland.
Well,
especially.
Yeah.
But the
But it does, it helps. And what propranolol is there to decrease what's called the sympathetic activity, which is the fight or flight response. So that response is there in nature. So if you walk around a corner and see a lion, you're ready to fight or run away because your muscles get pumped, your heart starts beating quick, ready for a quick response and a sustained response, and your eyes dilate because you want to take in as much information as you can. So when you're having a panic attack, you actually take on more vision because your pupils dilate.
I
you
feel
take
like
on everything.
hyper aware, like hypersensitive.
And there's a lot of research to suggest the fact that we all live in a slightly high fight or flight response, which is why high blood pressure's around.
Yeah.
that's the,
So instead of
the-
it being like a bang and you've got a fight or flight and bang, there's a lion.
It makes me so paranoid because I'm like on the fence of like, am I just anxious or am I just fat and I'm gonna die young because I love eating and smoking? But at the
Both?
same time, yeah,
Maybe
probably both. But yeah,
anxiety also, like it's a, as you're saying, it's like it's a mental
Weird.
health component to it, massive mental health component. But that it's really your relationship to your environment that's causing the anxiety, right? So where you're well informed in the medical situation, you understand PPE, you know how to take more precautions than the average Joe, certainly more than I would, being an electrician, being certainly more than Luca, being in the kitchen. I mean, we all have our own PPE, but it's nothing like what we'd require to have the protection we need for as good a protection as we can gather for the coronavirus. So your anxiety towards it is different because you understand it more, whereas if you don't understand it, you don't have the answers. So then you have that anxiety about, well, what if? Because there's so many questions that need answering.
Oh no, I'm just to jump in. Sorry, I know Luke's going to answer, but I know copies who are as worried as Luca is, and they understand the whole thing about it, and they just
Still there.
don't want to.
Yeah.
And that's why it makes it difficult for me because it is not, in my eyes, an unreasonable anxiety. So I have to judge people case by case to decide whether it's a reasonable anxiety, and I go by: do they have a history of anxiety? Have they just lost their job? Have they got other things going on? And it makes it really difficult because I guess
it's if I was to come in and go, I'm scared of coronavirus, sign me off. This is my anxiety. You'd be like, well, if I'm like, look, mate, like I'm getting up in the middle of the night, like I can't fucking sleep, like I feel like this, and la la la, and you'd be like, okay, like this is legit.
But look,
100%.
at the end of the day, if everything was normal and we were just going about our daily lives like we would normally without this pandemic, and someone came and said I need to be signed off because I've got the fear of catching COVID-19, that's different to there's a current pandemic, people are dying, people are isolating, old people are literally like super vulnerable. Even someone with asthma is super vulnerable. Like you'd want to limit as much risk on yourself and also potential of giving other people. So it's
So
not
Charlie,
it's completely
six
rational.
months time.
Surely.
6 months' time, when this likely is still here, but at a much lower level, if you were a doctor, someone came to you and said, I'm really worried about it, I need signed off for another 6 months, which I've already had 6 months.
That's I don't know. I think that's a different time, right? That's it. That's not now. We're gonna have more information. We're gonna be better informed in 6 months' time or 6 weeks' time. We're going to have more information. We're going to understand it better. You're going to the government are going to have more clarity on things. So we'll be more we'll be more in the know, so we can make a better decision on that, right? At the
But
moment, it's still a bit like.
You'd be sort of. Would you sway either way?
Mate, it's an impossible.
It's
I'm
such
an
a hard question.
idiot on a
Yeah.
broadcasting channel who's normally an electrician.
See,
I have
that's
no
why
idea.
I see why
you're talking about.
Kyle, you're saying like you literally have to take each person for each person. This mate, like even pre-COVID, like 6 months ago, if this question came up, I think we still wouldn't be able to answer it.
But it does, and it comes up an awful lot, and it is the reason why a lot of people come to see me, because they're worried, and that's why I mentioned health anxiety. Because what's the next thing that's going to happen? I've had someone say, "I'm worried about Ebola in Africa." Is that reasonable?
Recently,
Well, when Ebola happened, 4 months ago, 5 months ago?
I would personally that seems a little. That's very different
but
to
the
what
thing
we've got
is,
here,
right,
right?
is what we've got to remember is someone that's like at times, maybe 3 or 4 times a year, I'm like insanely anxious, right? To you, it seems reasonable, irrational, right? But to me, it's not like that. To you, to go to the shop and walk down the street on an everyday basis, or to go to a gig with like hundreds of people there is normal. To me, I can't do it. And you go, what do you mean, mate? Like it's fine. It's like, but you just can't get that in some. We're all different.
But that's based on your subjective reality, right?
Of course.
That anxiety is either like a manifestation of I don't know.
That's where,
But
like, if I was worried about Ebola, I would then read into it and go, what are the chances, and do my research and reason it out within my own mind. But that'd take me a couple of days to do that.
Can you
Well,
prescribe
you could do the
medication?
same for coronavirus.
I have done. Before we went into lockdown, I was following it for about 2 months. I was praying, man.
But you have, because you've done your work. People don't.
Yeah.
People won't do it. So
I was very relieved when we got locked down that we were doing something about it.
That's the next thing, isn't it? It's like, are people educating themselves on this matter?
So can I ask a big question while I open the beer here? What do you think about the 80% furlough?
Wow.
How do you mean? So as in that as a stat? Oh,
Yeah, as in
80%
how
away.
long can it go on for?
Oh, mate.
I don't think it can go on for too long.
Is it a reasonable number?
For me, yeah. I'm struggling, but mate, I got food on the table.
So I think it's a reasonable number. I just wonder how long it's going to be like this for, and what the end of it's going to be like. So at the minute,
economically.
well, yeah, we're going to hit a peak. We're going to hit a peak of coronavirus cases. Then we're going to come on the downslope, and then what you're going to see is the wave effect, because when this goes on, you're going to have to release something, and I think the first thing you're going to release is non-essential workers. So then non-essential workers will go back to work. People start mixing together. You're going to see a spike again in coronavirus cases.
This was going to be one of my
You
questions.
need to ride that, and then that needs to come down. Then you may well be into August, September. So then you may well be into schools. So when the schools go back, you may well see the big peak, and then that comes down. When pubs and restaurants get to do it, I don't know, because the schools are set. And then when are you going to have your football? I mean, this might well go on for a year.
Guys, like this, but this isn't going away. This is like another flu.
No.
Now
This is and so something really interesting about the virus as well is coronavirus is there's a lot of different coronaviruses. So SARS was a coronavirus. MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, that was a coronavirus. COVID-19 is this version of coronavirus. Coronavirus, from what I understand, has got a long DNA sequence. So it's likely, in the same way that MERS is now done,
RNA
SARS is now
sequence.
done. Yeah, so like viral DNA. So when I talked before that, viruses
you
are
mean
proteins.
gone?
Well, yeah. So SARS isn't. It's not going to be gone, but People might get SARS now,
Once in a blue
but
moon sort
it's
of thing.
one in every however much you treat them as a viral thing. It's not massive. Coronavirus is a big, long chain viruses. So you get a big spike and they tend to go away. If you look at influenza is different because it mutates and it's a short chain. So that's why we have it every year, and that's why it comes in the winter, because it mutates. And at the minute, we're onto what's called a quadrivalent vaccine. Quadrivalent, quad being 4, means you've got 4 different strains of flu that we protect against. But that's only 4. It was bivalent, then it was trivalent, now we're quad, because it keeps mutating and we're trying to keep up with it, and we follow what Australia's doing. Now, it can mutate. Influenza can mutate. It's really tricky because influenza is going to come back year after year because it's going to mutate. We're going to have to adapt. We're going to have to learn from it. Then we treat it. That's why we've now got a jab program where we try and vaccinate people against what we think the next influenza is going to be. Coronavirus is different. It's going to be difficult to vaccinate people against it. Well, you can do it, but you're going to have to develop it.
Yeah.
And it's
And
going
do
to
you
be
think
really...
it's gonna? Do you think it's gonna come back every year like it does influenza?
No, I don't think it will. So
Oh wow!
influenza
So
can
that's some
mutate.
hope. That's like the best news I've ever heard.
So I think coronavirus will hit you in a massive spike once in a generation. SARS, MERS, COVID-19, they're the 3 that we've had so far. And they've been spread, 30, 40, 50 years apart. It'll come back again as a coronavirus virus.
Strain sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it would be in
And
the similar pattern and concentration as current SARS cases.
That's how coronavirus works. Influenza is different because it will mutate and it will adapt,
So
and then you'll have different strains.
is the mad thing, and almost the best thing about having you on here tonight is a lot of people, I think, thought that COVID, well, that was it. It's going to be here forever and ever and ever and ever. It will never go away. I like you said, like SARS will never go away, but the chance of getting it is so small now.
Well, yeah, now it's gone. But the other thing is, coronavirus is a common virus. So if you've had a sniffle, you've probably had coronavirus. It's just this was a strain of coronavirus. So in virus world, there are coronaviruses in the same way that we've got pine trees.
Doesn't
and in pine trees, there are different types. So if you get a common cold, you could have adenovirus, rhinovirus, coronavirus, respiratory syncytial virus, influenza. There's loads that you could have. Within that, there are different subgroups. And of coronavirus just seems to be one of these ones which seems to make really bad decisions as a virus for us. It just makes shit decisions and it sucks. So the last, SARS and MERS, so SARS and MERS and COVID-19, all coronaviruses. Rhinovirus, common cold, never done this. Adenovirus, never done this. Respiratory syncytial virus, I think, had a bit of a peak, hasn't done this. But, influenza occasionally has a little bit of a flourish. You get your bird flu, your swine flu, all influenza of viruses. Sort of never really peaks. But coronavirus is done well because it's just been so infectious, and it's been the asymptomatic people that have made it really difficult to control. But I think we're there.
So with COVID-19 then, it's literally transferable through the air of an infected. So someone breathing out, if you're in a room with an infected person and they're literally just breathing out and you're in the same room, you have a potential of transmitting it through air particles.
Well,
moisture particles.
Potentially, yeah. So it's a droplet transmission. So it needs water as a vector.
So like a cough.
Like a cough, like a sneeze. But
so not so much breathing, but more like.
Well, when you breathe out moisture. I mean, if you take a cold mirror and you breathe out.
Yeah, of course.
So the other thing is, I saw this poor dear on Saturday morning who will probably die of coronavirus.
No.
And she's been self-isolating.
What?
But someone has to open the door and drop the food off, or has to post the food through the letterbox.
No.
Which it happens all the time. This is happening. people are getting poorly, and we see poorly people, and it's a really difficult call to make. And we're having to, say to people, I mean, the problem with it as well is if I think you're dying from coronavirus and I see you as a doctor and you're going, we have to have a plan for whether you go to hospital or whether you die at home.
It's a tough plan. That's got to be the most brutal decision you have to make, mate.
We've had patients who are poorly and I want to send to hospital because they're otherwise young. And when the ambulance comes, they're put in the back of the ambulance, and the loved ones who's with them are told, you'll see them when they come out, which might be walking or in a box.
Fuck
Jesus Christ.
That's so heavy. How have you been dealing with all of this, mate? It's all easy. It's all easy for us to go, yeah, I'm a big, strong bloke. I'm a doctor. Like, I'll be fine. But like, let's get to the chase. Like, and I think this is a question. This is a question that no one's probably ever asked you, because we're more worried about us. The doctor feeds us information, but that's like, how are the doctors dealing with it? With like, do doctors have anxiety about going to work? Like, are they stressed?
Yeah, we do. So for me, for me, it's what I was trained to do.
Yeah, right.
A lot of doctors who are older, who might have asthma or COPD, I completely understand their reservations about going to work, because it can be a killer. And also your Black, Asian, minority ethnicities, it seems to preferentially go for older. Well, it seems that you're older. If you're an old male, Black, Asian, minority ethnic doctor, I'd be worried. Well, if you look at the demographic who died, it's really difficult, and we don't quite know why that is. There might be something about something called an ACE enzyme, so ACE. There's lots going on about that, but it's males. I think are about 65% all deaths are males. Black and Asian minority ethnics definitely higher than white Caucasian by a long way. That is
by a long way.
Yeah, and the elderly as well. So it's and people with comorbidities. So there's a few people who I would say, wow.
So you're telling me there are doctors with COPD and other health issues, and they're still going into work?
Oh yeah.
Wow. That's dedication, isn't it?
Going back to our first question, indiscriminately get yourself to work, mate.
There are people who are worried about their own health, who are kissing their family goodbye and are saying, I might see you later, because if they have to go into lockdown because they're at work and they start getting a fever and a cough, they're not going to want to go back home and give it to their family.
Mate.
So you self-isolate where you stand.
It's crazy how...
And then if you end up sparking it out, you're not going to be going home.
Yeah.
So I've had this.
It's mental how...
You've had it?
Well, no, I've not had the virus, but I've had the fact where I thought, I don't just feel well. Not had the cough, not had the temperature, but I did my temperature outside the house, because if my temperature was 37.8, I knew I'd have to self-isolate, and whoever I was in the house with would have to as well. So I would have gone and tried to find somewhere to self-isolate myself. Whether that was the right thing to do or not, difficult to know. But I just didn't want to take it home.
Yeah.
And it's a really difficult time, and the goalposts have changed. It used to be, if you remember, like 3 weeks ago, it was, have you been in contact with any confirmed cases? Have you been to one of these places in the last 14 days? That's what it used to be like 3 weeks ago. Now it's, if you've got symptoms, you're home, and the symptoms can be wide ranging. And that's the problem with it being asymptomatic. I've seen patients who've got coronavirus who've just got diarrhea. That's it.
Oh, mate. I'm almost...
That's it.
Going back to when I had my cough, and then 4 days later, my partner had her illness, and it was like brutal. Like we phoned 111. They were like, "Yeah, she's got an ear infection." I was like, "That's not we were like eating dinner, and she was like, "Oh, I can't taste this food." And I was like looking at her, I was like, I ain't fucking.
No, you can
I'm not,
taste it. Very good.
I ain't saying nothing. I'm not putting her through that paranoia. I'm just gonna eat my food and just like get through this. But I'm like convinced. But 3 weeks ago, it was, do you have a cough? Yes. Do you have a temperature? No. You probably not got it then.
Difficult, really difficult.
It's so confusing. It's been
You're
great
in-
having
and
you
what-
on here though, man.
It's the thing, like we don't know. We just don't know what's
Yeah.
going to happen with it. And so I think we're not going to see them. Well, it seems that we're not going to see the massive peak that we're going to see where A&Es are full and people are dying, and it's just going to be awful.
Like in Lombardy, that video when there's just like
Yeah, and like
they're
what
in the
you see- what
ICU
you
and they're
see
like
there.
most people don't leave. Oh my god.
We're not going to see that. What we're going to see is a long, drawn-out battle, and unfortunately, I think it's probably going to be a long, drawn-out battle.
It really
And
sounds.
it might not ever go back to how it was. This might not go back to a pre-coronavirus era. There might be things that happen, and we.
What you mean
We
forever?
can't go
Or...
back to how it was. Well, maybe. I mean, everything's going to change. I mean, loads of pubs and restaurants and clubs and all the rest of it aren't going to be able to afford to open. I mean, that's going to
No.
happen anyway. So that's going to change things.
Yeah.
The last thing that's going to open in the country are going to be pubs and clubs and cafes, cinemas, anywhere where there's a public
Theatres.
gathering.
Football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You imagine the first football game that's going to happen, where you're going to have 60,000 people turning up
I
and going
would
to
be
the pub
so
beforehand with
paranoid,
another
mate.
40,000.
I'd be so
It's going to
paranoid.
be, but you're going to have to. So when that happens, we're going to have to expect a surge in coronavirus cases and intensive care cases, and people are going to die
Yeah.
because people are mixing. And then after that, what we don't know is what's that base level going to be like.
So
Was
in
it
terms
really
of
infectious?
the best way to get around it would be a vaccine, wouldn't it? Or some sort of.
Mm.
Have you had any newsletters about that, or do you have any info about that? So that's
No,
the only
so
way we're going to get through it. Yeah.
It does lend itself to a vaccine because it's a long chain virus. So if it was a really, really, really short chain virus, it wouldn't, because it mutate and then it'd be pointless having it. Which is why I think flu is getting a bit close to the edge, because we've now got a quadrivalent virus, which means we're trying to vaccinate against 4 strains of flu, which at the minute I think is about 65 effective against 65% of all flu. So if you have the virus, if you have the vaccine, you can still get a third of all flu.
Yeah.
So, there's only so much you can put into a vaccine. Quadrivalent will go up to 5-valent, 6-valent, 8-valent. I mean, how much can you fit in realistically to go to an injection?
And then what's the effect on the body with that?
Exactly. Well, the effect on the body is not so bad because it's not an active virus. But you just wonder then, is it worth it? And this might be where we try to be a bit too clever in making all these viruses.
I was listening to the radio earlier on. They were saying that one of the top Oxford groups are starting their testing on the virus next week or something. Apparently, she was like, "Yeah, it's really promising. It's really good." But we have to rely on all the other labs to stop what they're producing to just produce this.
But they've got to go through trials, right?
Yeah.
You've got to
Yeah.
go through a whole trial process, so you can theoretically have
The
a break.
hard thing is, right,
Yeah,
is you go, do we stick this through like 5 years of trials and then like half the population's dead? Or do we just give me
dunno,
it,
man.
mate? Just give me it. We've all taken dodgy stuff on a night out, you know what I mean? Just give me it.
Well, I think the difficulty is if it doesn't work, what's the point in having it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
God,
true.
check.
What's the point?
I always thought it was testing
what's
as
the
in,
point of
like-
dodgy stuff?
Yeah. I always thought of saw the testing as like to make sure that I'm not going to grow a second head, but it's more to make sure it works, of course.
Yeah.
It's it's just
It-
unprecedented times, and it's scary. And the longer we're in
it's
it,
really, really tricky to know what's going to happen. And I think
yeah.
we're going to. I think what we're trying to do is just control the level of people who end up in intensive care. The last thing we want to do is make it so that people are dying because they didn't have an intensive care bed. And at the minute, people are dying because they would have died anyway, and we can't do shit all about that.
So is Torbay in receipt of these sort of new ventilators from all these companies that have banded together to sort of start manufacturing them? Have you guys? You haven't
from
needed
what
them?
I know, and I don't work at Torbay Hospital, but from what I'm aware, they're doing all right. So
Yeah.
Torbay has everything they need. I don't know whether they have banded together, have to get other ones, but right now,
I think I saw last week there was early last week there was something like 45 cases in Torbay, and then that was like the Tuesday or Wednesday, and come Friday, Saturday it was like 90 cases. But do you know what are the cases looking like in Torbay specifically? Is it? Do you think? Because in my head I was like, all right, that's doubled in like 3 days. Does that mean we're going to get this mad spike?
So when you say cases, we're judging cases we don't know because a third of people are asymptomatic.
Okay.
What we're doing is deaths.
Deaths.
So how many people are going to die a day, which is basically what the government are reporting as well.
So when I looked on the Times, it was 90 things. So that was 90 people that had died in Torbay.
I haven't seen it, but we now don't know cases because we know a third of people are asymptomatic. That might be a bit wrong, so we don't know. So the best thing we've got of how long this is going to be is how many people die every day.
I just want to sorry, mate. Go on. Sorry, I didn't realise. Sorry.
So how many people die is obviously going to lag behind how many people are getting the cases, because usually people get poorly day 6 to day 11, and then start to get really poorly from about day 9, 10, 11 onwards, and they get really poorly. So it's possible that the number of deaths lags behind the number of cases by about 9, 10 days.
So let's talk in like conspiracy terms. Say I and my missus had it. Do all people that have coronavirus do they all last from day 1 to day 13 or day 9, or some of them like 5 days, some of them are 6 days, some of them are 15 days?
So again, coronavirus is a general term, like SARS. So COVID-19 is the one that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So COVID-19, you'll contract it on day 1.
Yeah.
If you're going to get symptoms, it's probably going to be somewhere between like day 3 and 7. And then if you're going to feel really bad from it, it's going to be like 6 to 11. And if you're going to go downhill, really badly downhill, you're talking like days 9 to something.
So I think that's where I'm getting confused. I think what my question was from the first day that you show symptoms, because that's when I would class it as day 1.
Oh no! So when you're having symptoms, you could well be 9 days from contracting it.
What? Oh man, your job must be really tough right now.
Because a virus has to replicate. That's its job. So if you take on virus number 1, it goes into let's just make it easy. So you take on number 1 virus, it goes into a cell and it makes 100 copies of itself. And then the cell explodes or it releases itself. You've got 100 copies. That each copy goes into another 100 cells, replicates, and then that's another 100. You sort of start an exponential curve of things going up, but that takes time. It's called an incubation period. So you're incubating it. You're effectively being the oven for the virus. And then it makes itself more and more and more. And then when enough cells are affected, you get enough of these inflammatory markers and other things which make you aware that actually you're quite poorly. So these are called cytokines. There's lots of other things which happen in your body which make you think, actually, I don't really feel very good. A lot of them cause inflammation. So you get inflammation in your airways, you get inflammation all over the place, and that's why you get short of breath. Because if you get inflammation, you start making mucus, An inflamed airway is a wider airway. So if you've got a wider airway, it's harder to get oxygen from there to there. And then you start getting short of breath and you start puffing away. So if you think of your lungs as individual sacks of grapes, so if you imagine a bunch of grapes, you breathe in, and the grape skins get filled with air, and around those are little blood vessels, and there's a really thin lining that goes from the inside of the grape across to the blood vessel, and then other things transfer out. If everything's inflamed, that gets a bit thicker. There's more distance to transfer across. So you don't get the same transfer of gases, so you get more poorly. And that's what we're seeing in coronavirus, or COVID-19.
Wow.
So on top of reduced transmission of oxygen to your blood cells, you're also getting reduced airflow through the actual air intake system, effectively.
So the big vessels, or say vessels, the big tubes aren't that affected. So you got bronchus, bronchi, bronchioles. It changes. It's a bit like if you looked at a tree from the bottom up. It's not far off what that looks like. So the big trunk's going to be your main bronchus. Then you got branches. Then you got little things where all the leaves are. Imagine each leaf as a bunch of grapes.
Wow.
That's what your lungs are. And then and in fact it works the same way, because that's how trees exchange oxygen. So they've got a massive surface area. Your lungs do exactly the same thing. Your lungs are based on a tree. It's not far off.
That's amazing.
But if they get inflamed, then they get these little airways get blocked with mucus, and they get plugged, and they can bleed, and other things can happen. And that's why we're seeing this shortness of breath. There's evidence to suggest that in the current COVID, we're getting lots of tiny bleeds in lungs and kidneys and other organs. And that's one of the reasons why we're seeing the shortness of breath. So if you have a tiny bleed in an airway, which is only 1/10 of a millimeter wide, it doesn't take a lot of blood to clot that up, and everything which is downstream from it. And that's potentially why people are starting to get poorly and go downhill. It depends on what their lung capacity is, and it can be difficult.
I've got a question for Dr. Kyle here. Is it a theory that smokers are high risk, or is that legit? Asking for a friend.
So they're a smoker and they want to know, basically.
Yeah, I'm a big time smoker, man. I love it. I don't love it, but I just you know, when you're bored at home in lockdown, you've got nothing better to do. I'll just go for a fag. I've drank so many bottles of whiskey too.
So smoking, respiratory conditions like asthma and COPD are absolutely risk for becoming more poorly from COVID-19. But again, it makes sense. If we're saying that COVID-19 makes inflammation in your airways, and that clogs these bunch of grapes up and can cause little bleeds and all the rest of it, if you smoke, that's what you're doing anyway. Because the smoke has got heat and it's got these things which cause inflammation. So what you're doing is you're adding to the inflammation load.
Yeah, you're screwed basically.
So it depends how good your lungs are. So some people can smoke 20 a day for 50 years and their lungs are in good nick. Other people can smoke hardly anything and their lungs are wrecked. And that's
mad.
I never thought
that would have been the case. I would have thought wow, yeah, everyone's.
It's not.
I guess what you're saying is everyone's different, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Some people smoke 50 a day for 20 years and get lung cancer. Some people don't smoke ever. They've never tried it and they get lung cancer.
Do you smoke?
I don't smoke. Never smoked. I think I smoked about when I was 15 on a caravan camp trip to Cornwall and thought,
just to be cool.
Woke up feeling like death and thought, nah, not cool.
Yeah, that's how it started for me. I was down a skate park with my dad's rollies, and then I was like, yeah, this will never affect me. This will never affect me. And then 6 weeks later,
we got some more questions. Steve Evans says, so it's completely possible that COVID-19 could mutate again and maybe cause COVID-20, just as a vaccine is being developed for COVID-19, and then we have to start all over again.
So COVID-19 is the strain of coronavirus. So that's not going to. It is absolutely plausible that coronavirus, as a family, as that group of viruses, will mutate, and we will have another virus.
But not
In the
necessarily
same way,
COVID-19
it won't.
itself.
So
won't
in the same way
mutate.
that we've got COVID now, we've had SARS, and we've had MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory one. The SARS one, I can't remember what that bloody stands for.
I'll find it.
Yeah, so in the same way that we've got that, coronavirus could do something else funky. Yeah, it could. And it's really weird as well, because
Don't you think it's as much as you say it could do something really funky, but then the big discussion is this came from bats, so it didn't really do anything funky. It was always there, wasn't it?
Potentially.
You know what I mean? So like it never
and there may be something hidden in a parrot in
a
South
monkey
America,
or whatever. Yeah.
which if we contract will go through us like an absolute whirlwind.
Yeah.
In the same way that if we start going trekking through the Amazon jungle and cough,
And get bitten.
we
by
could
a
give half the
leech.
population of whatever lemur or leech or fish or
Oh,
bird or butterfly
mate.
has never seen this before, but just
Oh,
happens to be
mate.
compatible. What
Yeah.
you're talking about is compatibility with hosts.
I did actually
some
see
are-
a thing yesterday to
some
do
aren't.
with the Amazon rainforest tribes, and apparently it's in there.
Yeah.
It's,
So
it's awful.
So it's all about what's the compatibility with a host. Now, for some reason, COVID-19 was in bats. Now, I don't know whether bats were dropping down dead or whether bats were just actually quite happy to deal with it, because bats have had it for thousands of years. But it made the jump. And the difficulty that we've got is more and more. We are traveling everywhere. We are eating everything. We are touching everything. These what we call zoonotic bugs and viruses are going to be there, and this is to be expected from us exploring.
I think
It's like Darwin's finches. If you look at Darwin's finches, Darwin's finches did it the other way. Finches go to different islands and then make completely different species. That's where the theory of evolution comes from.
Sorry, explain that. I'm intrigued.
So Darwin's finches. You have a finch on an island.
Yeah.
And it flies to a different island.
Yeah.
So you've got two islands, which you've got two species of finches. They can breed and they can do whatever they want, and they can make 4, 5, 6 different species of finches. And at some point, one goes to another land, and then you've got 5, 6, 7 other species of finches which are on another island, and then you've got 5, 6, 7 islands which are now distinct things which are growing up with different populations of finches.
Right.
Same as coronavirus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Coronavirus started as a virus, which has now gone from this to this to this, and has found different hosts being different islands.
Okay.
And that's where we are. And
that makes sense now. Yeah. So it might not mutate in us, but it could mutate in other hosts, as in animals, bats, parrots.
Well, we got this from bats, but
I had it from a pangolin.
I've not seen the data, so we're all assuming this came.
Can we go back to the conspiracy theory thing?
Go on, go on.
We've got to put another world on it, right? You know what I mean? We've got to explore it. So there was a thing that I watched and read the other day. And
Where from?
I can't remember where it was
Good question.
from, but there's this dude that's been, mate. I clicked on it. Do you know what I mean? So apparently they were in Wuhan, which was part of Harvard, was like paying for it as well, and loads of other countries were paying for this bio lab in Wuhan to basically look into coronaviruses.
Okay.
And they apparently 2 years ago it was mentioned that this virus was about, and it so happens to be that there was a story in the Huffington, New York Times as well about one of the scientists was selling, instead of getting rid of the monkeys and exterminating them, he was selling them to the market for cash or bats or whatever. Yeah. There's loads of stuff out there. Loads of stuff.
I'm gonna over conspiracy theories. You can absorb them in if you want, but I think it's a reality. I think it's a reality.
To be fair, if someone had been experimenting on monkeys with viruses and then released them into the general market, it's not unreasonable that you get a shitty virus from it.
Yeah.
Like it's how you would do it.
Big argument for the world to go vegan, though, right?
Nah.
Yeah. 0.
My tortellini was really good, man.
Tumbleweeds.
That's a nice kitchen, mate.
You know what, Kyle? It's been awesome having you on tonight, mate. That was really good. You've as much as you've made us more aware of what's going on in the world, you've actually put me more at ease, because I feel like I've got the inside knowledge, and you're just straight up. This is what's going on. Sound. I can deal with that instead of like just watching the news and just being filled with shit.
But on the flip side of that, this could have caused more tension, and I think it's important to have to grow communities like this where we are isolated, and the only means of communicating and connecting with each other are via virtual portals. And if this is a conduit for you to be able to sort of seek assistance, or just even have someone just listening to people having a conversation.
It's great for me, and I think you guys are clearly going to have loads of people asking questions, and I'm more than happy to pop on and answer questions and give my opinion whenever I want. I'm outside of doing the doctor work, I'm doing research into potentially ways of detecting it, and some treatments, some plant-based treatments. Charlie, being vegan. In watercress. So I spent half my time researching watercress.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This boy's like mad on the watercress.
Oh, Charlie, you don't have to be vegan to eat watercress, yeah? So don't get too buzzing.
No, I love it.
I love watercress.
Dr.
What's watercress saying, man?
So when about 4 years ago, I was on a ward round in paediatrics, and I saw a really poorly little boy who was neglected, and he had nappy rash, and I didn't know what caused nappy rash. So I did some research and found out that the urea in urine gets burnt by bacteria on the skin into ammonia, and actually nappy rash is a chemical burn from ammonia. It's an alkaline chemical burn. So then I worked with a couple of professors, and we found some papers that suggested watercress had natural inhibitors to the enzyme. So we got a really generous grant from Torbay Medical Research Fund in Torquay. So that's the story. So Torbay Medical Research Fund, fantastic. They are three big law firms in Torquay: Wooler Mitchell Moore, Kitson's, and the one I never remember, who basically, if you go to them with a load of money and you say, I want to leave to the RSPCA or whatever, they will offer you the opportunity to leave it to Torbay Medical Research Fund, and you can leave it to proper science instead of someone from the RSPCA sitting in an office getting 200 grand a year, and that's your money gone.
Yeah.
So they funded the research, and we have proven that watercress has these enzyme inhibitors which can block the conversion of urea to urease to ammonia, which means that we've made, after using this money, we've made an extract which, when we've powdered it, if you put it into a baby's nappy, they'll have a wee, the compound gets absorbed, and they won't get nappy rash.
That is unbelievable.
And off the back of that,
you're an actual legend, aren't you?
Off the back of that, the chemistry. So this is where I get a bit funny. The chemistry is really good. So struvite kidney stones are kidney stones which are made because the urine gets too alkaline, and then things come out of solution, make a stone, and then you get kidney stones. So again, we can stop that kidney stone formation. We think it's probably going to work in people as well. So for frail people, farmers have been using urease inhibitors, which is what we found in watercress for years. So cattle get given urea is a really cheap source of nitrogen. So nitrogen is what protein is basically made up of. And then the cattle absorb it, and they have the protein to make milk and get bigger for slaughter and whatever else. But a lot of the nitrogen gets excreted and a big environmental concern is the urine from cattle and farmlands, because it's really strongly ammonia. So again, some of the urease inhibitors in watercress are clever because some of them are clever because we can improve the efficiency of absorption of protein from the gut into the bloodstream, we think. So there's one called Agrotane, which is what the farmers use, but we think we can do it better with watercress, because the ones that they use are synthesized, and we can do something clever. And so I set up Watercress Research Limited, which is a watercress research company. We've got a really close relationship with the Watercress Company in Dorchester, who make about 60% of the UK's watercress, biggest independent producer in the land. We've just commissioned a couple of videos. One of them is on the Torbay Hospital website about nitrate. So, quick thing, nitrate's really clever. Might help in coronavirus, might not, but I think it probably does. But I haven't proved it, so I can't say it does, but I think it probably does.
You're a legend.
When you have nitrate in your diet and you chew it,
so a bit you get nitrates in like salami, parma ham, bacon.
No, that's nitrite.
I thought I was with you then.
Yeah, that's NO2. So this is NO3. So basically, leafy green vegetable type. So beetroot, watercress have nitrates. When you chew them, the bugs in your mouth burn it into nitrite. When you swallow it, the nitrite hits your stomach acid, and you convert nitrite into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide, NO, is a really potent antiviral, antibacterial substance.
Wow.
So there's a very good chance that and given the fact that all your respiratory secretions that you take in, your snot, your saliva, and all the rest of it goes to your stomach, it's probably one of your body's ways of protecting yourself against the virus, which is supported by the fact that your salivary glands concentrate nitrate 10 times the concentration that's in your blood. It actively seeks out the nitrate to squirt into your mouth so that your bugs in your mouth can convert it to nitrite. You can swallow it, you can produce nitric oxide, and you can kill off bugs.
Wow.
And it does have antiviral properties. So there's a very, very, very good chance that actually eating a high nitrate diet from spinach, kale, watercress, beetroot, deep leafy greens could well protect you against coronavirus viral load. I can't say it does because I haven't done the science, but we've just got a video about it on the Torbay Hospital website, which is going to be really good. And the other thing we're working on, sorry, go on.
No, I was going to ask about the cattle and the ammonia. So would you have a substitute then that would reduce the amount of ammonia excreted by the cows, which would then reduce the amount of pollution or pollutants into soil?
Yes, watercress extra.
Wow. Cool.
Containing urease inhibitors, which we were going to try and patent, but we've decided that's going to be too difficult and that should be a pain in the ass. And actually, we're researchers, so we're not going to try and patent it. So we're just going to tell people what it is. So watercress has got about 6 to 8 different urease inhibitors, from vitamin C to isothiocyanate to tryptophan to the flavonoid groups, and it inhibits the urease enzyme, which is a predominantly bacterial enzyme from a nickel. It's called a nickel metalloenzyme, so it's nickel based.
You're blowing my mind right now.
Yeah,
you're literally blowing my mind.
So the really cool thing about it is if we can prove it works in the gut, all these build-up drinks that we give to the elderly, so your Ensures, your Fresubins, most of those are short-chain amino acids, small fatty acids, small sugars that your body would need, but they hit the gut and the gut burns them up. We can probably improve the absorption of that, so a lot of the frail people can get better protein absorption and have less side effects.
Wow.
And then we've got the nitrate side of things, and then we've got something really cool. So a video which is going to come out soon, which I've just been scripting today, is around something called isothiocyanate. So, wasabi.
Yeah.
So wasabi's in the same family as watercress.
And horseradish as well, isn't it?
And horseradish. If you,
Is it not?
There's a story.
Yeah.
There's a story there, but
Okay.
we can go into that. If you grate wasabi and eat it,
Yeah.
it doesn't really taste very much. But if you tasted the same thing you grated 30 seconds later, it will blow your head off. The reason being is it's a plant defense mechanism. So you've got these group of chemicals called glucosinolates, and they get converted by an enzyme called myrosinase into a group of compounds called isothiocyanates. Now, isothiocyanates are peppery as fuck, and the reason they've got it is so that when a cow goes to chew on it, it gets a peppery blast because it's chewing it and it mixes those things up, and it fucks off. And we've decided that as humans, we quite like that.
Yeah, it's lush. Love wasabi.
The interesting thing is isothiocyanates have really, really good anti-cancer properties, which is what my next video. So phenethyl isothiocyanate, which is what's in watercress, has been shown to be beneficial in patients with, in the cells of breast cancers, because it can make the radiotherapy effect better, but it also protects the non-cancer cells. So that's in the dishes, but the idea is it potentially, if you get breast cancer patients to take on phenethyl isothiocyanate from watercress, you can get a better effect from the radiotherapy and reduce the side effects.
Wow.
So that's what we're working on. So I've got the company Watercress Research who works with the Watercress company, and that's what we're actively working on.
You know, when you contacted the Watercress company, we're like, what the...
So I contacted them 5 years ago. The reason being...
5 years ago?
5 years ago. We've been doing it for 5 years. The reason being is there were... So when we tried to find urease inhibitors, when I found the Napiras thing, there were three plants which were shown to be high urease inhibitors: pomegranate, chamomile, watercress. Pomegranate seemed expensive, a bit of a ball to work with.
So expensive.
Didn't really know how to get them. Fresh chamomile, where do you get that from? It's just chamomile
India?
tea. India, exactly. Watercress, typed into the Watercress company, and I found a company called the Watercress company, and there we go. So now we've got...
Sorry, mate. Has it got a higher concentration than the rest of the like the pomegranate and the chamomile, or is it similar?
Watercress is cheap to grow, isn't it?
It's really cheap to grow.
Cheap.
The Watercress company got 60-70% of the UK's watercress, and the biggest independent producer in the world. So we're doing lots of research with them. It's really fun.
Well, the
thing about the isothiocyanate and the pepperiness is, you know, when you get the sushi packs in Tesco's, and you got the little sachet and you tear it open, it's green.
The wasabi.
No, it's not.
It's not wasabi.
It's mustard and green food coloring.
Yeah. real wasabi is like potent. There is a company in England called the English Wasabi something, but they're like top secret.
They're my buddies.
They're top secret, mate. Then you can't even find it on Google because it's so expensive to grow, and you could just take the whole crop, mate. You'd be loaded.
So the Wasabi company are my buddies with the Watercress company, same company.
Legend. Are they the same company?
Well, different company, but same side.
Whenever you because obviously I'm a chef, so whenever you look at menus like English wasabi, I'm like, wow, big shot, bloody hell.
So the problem is when you do the wasabi thing. So if you grate wasabi,
they do it on a
straight
little
away,
they do it round, don't they?
But then you get a big spike of peppery, and then it dies down because it's an enzyme reaction. It's a plant.
I never
it's a
knew
plant
that.
reaction
So
to protect the plant against the animals. So you can't package that into a little sachet because it will burn away.
Yeah.
So what we do is we give people mustard seeds, which has got capsaicin and other things, and just put a green food colour in. Now, what I'm going to do is find a way of, well, I've found a way, I'm just not going to tell you what it is, find a way of grating up wasabi and making it nice. So when you open it, you've got proper wasabi. But the Wasabi company are my buddies as well, with the Watercress company.
Mate, sick. Well, I would really, really, really love you to come on and do like a daytime masterclass show on all of this. So it's sort of so we can consolidate and all of this information into one sort of handy resource, because we're sort of a mix with music and really average chat at the beginning from myself because I was on my own. But yeah, it'd be nice to consolidate all of this into like a really useful video.
No worries.
Mate, I can't thank you enough for coming on. Thanks for giving us so much of your time. It's really, really incredible. And hats off to you and all your comrades at work. We are lost without you already. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope Luca would come back before we sign off. I might wait for him. But Carl, is there anything else you want to add, mate, before we shoot?
Stay home, stay safe.
Stay at home, stay safe. Carl, thank you, mate. We'll be in touch. Thank you very much, mate.
Cheers all. Bye-bye.
Bye. Wow, I'm not sure where Luca's gone. I hope you enjoyed it. Does anyone want to come in on the topic and questions? I mean, I'm absolutely shattered. I've been at this all day. But yeah, no, thank you for tuning in. And if this has raised any concerns for you, I'm going to try and find some contacts. There's the NHS 111, etc. If you're Torbay, Devon Doctors, there's a phone number for those as well. So I'm going to get that for you. But I think most importantly, what we touched on is that obviously resources aren't quite there. So it's important to share these sort of platforms, get people connected. I think it's invaluable. Certainly helps me, certainly helps my friends. I've heard some really good comments. We have a lot of comments come through saying how much of a support this network is. So please do share. Not for our gain. We don't earn any money out of this. This is purely just a bit of a project for us and just a trying to build a community. That's it. So please do get out there. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for your support. And thanks for all your questions and your input. Really, really appreciate it. Guys, have a lovely evening and good luck this week. Have a lovely evening. Bye.